Hi, my friends and family. You're watching Trey's Timeless 15 Minutes of Explain on Trey's Myths and Tunes. Today, I'm discussing Lazarus, unlocking an electric mind cage from within and your freedom. I got to flunk and roll now. Now can't you freaking see? Whether or not I failed the past, right now I got to sail free. Now can't you funkin' see it? The devil only told you lies. But I'm here to say you can rise above the disguise. Fly with me in the sky. And let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. You know I got to roll. Now can't you see? The devil only told you lies to try to steal everything. So let I and I love open the door. Let I and I love open the door. Let I and I love open the door to your heart. 'Cause it's all I. Everything I see is me. Bump, pretty bump, pretty boop. Even the freaking plane surveilling in the sky right at this moment. Lazarus, unlocking an electric mind cage from within and your freedom. Well, if you recall the Lazarus story from the Old Testament or have heard of it, the idea was this man Lazarus, he died, but he had a whole lot of faith. I can't even remember how the story goes exactly, but the idea was that even though I took Old Testament in college, sadly I can't remember the exact narrative, but the idea was, I believe, that he had such a profoundly strong faith in the Christ that he rose again from the dead and came back to life. And so after they said I fell over my bike and this PG&E truck ran over a part of my shoulder and I broke 15 small bones, including 9 ribs, and healed them all in 6 months after drinking bone broth and sunbathing and CBD and THC. I was slightly shocked, and a year later I started my YouTube channel here, and so when I think about the first of the month, or today's April Fool's Day, or tomorrow's April Fool's Day, and there's going to be a big, huge protest rally sponsored by Housing Matters, which is the homeless shelter services center's new name. They're given millions and millions of dollars by the government to help the homeless, which they mostly will put toward their tax for their building or their social workers' rent, and help the homeless a little. So it's interesting that they're the ones running it. Is the welfare deception and the whole socialist system like a country club prison with no structure? For example, like just by being impoverished or mentally or physically disabled because of this fake housing contest, so-called crisis housing, affordable housing crisis, which is a totally controlled narrative. Is this a mental country club prison? Well, mental control structure to control the wild ones and the family. Like taking like locking up all the plugs and stuff of life so you can't recharge your cell phone. Einstein's statement about insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, was kind of what I was doing on September 1st, 2021. I was excited to go back into my routine, and I thought I was going to have the courage to change, to use the same old routines to heal. And actually it was a solar flare, I think, that blinded both the truck driver and myself that caused that. So it's interesting how the all things can be used for expansion if you look at it right. So So Lazarus was given a second chance, right, by God, given a second chance by God, right, because of his faith. So this is how I felt after my spirit God saved me, and when they took me, when the EMT, supposedly because the Dominican was full, which is a very, a very draconian hospital, they might have tried to force me to take the shot, or tried to off me in some other ways. So when the ambulance driver took me to the Santa Clara Valley Trauma Center, oh, it was really extremely powerfully lucky, or an example of the Holy Ghost protecting me due to my faith, because they're trauma specialists, accident specialists. These three doctors in green vests, they put me through the tube, and you know they put a tube in my lung and got a few cups of blood out in a couple of days. But they look like a doctor TV show, a handsome Jewish doctor with sideburns, and a really good looking Asian doctor, and a really fine African American woman doctor. All three of them wearing a green shirt, and all three of them were about 30 years old. I felt like I was getting rescued by a doctor TV show, but they were good. And after 5 days in there, the Jewish man said, "You ready to get out of here?" I said, "Yes, I am. Thank you, sir." And I said, "Thank you. You saved my life," because they did. So 1 year later, I launched Trey's Myths and Tunes here, and then a few months after that, I began the ritual of Trey's Timeless 15 Minutes of Explain, and didn't even get a strike till a few days ago. The Hero's Theme, my first video I made on YouTube, it got 1,200 views in one day, I believe, or so. And the next one was 600, but soon, within days after that, I noticed I'd written passionate Gnostic comments on other people's videos that got shadow banned. And so that was my first experience with this nefarious dark side of it. So for magic eyes only, cannabis as a window of the higher self. Okay, so I spoke about cannabis and how to heal with it in previous episodes, and how it can hinder and help. And my friend, as I said, a tall, dark Scorpio shaman from Arkansas, John Cute, said, cannabis can relieve, but it can't resolve. I would disagree. It can resolve if you can change your mind to the position of being receptive to the healing. However, I mean, it helps if you live in a state where it's legal, where you can continue to use it as long as you need it. But it is only going to be medicinal if you take tolerance breaks, as I said. And it's interesting to view it as a window of your higher self, and to see that cannabis is not necessarily going to take you there. It can be a wonderful, amazing tool, psychedelic aphrodisiac plant medicine, to help you reclaim or tune in, but it's not going to do the work for you. But the narcissistic predator entities can be hiding in the cannabis, or your friends if you use the black market, especially. So, for example, so you have to look at that side of it, and how the astral parasites and the archons, the zeta, the predator narcissist entities can try to hide in your cannabis experience if you're not real clear-headed. And this is why so-called friends in the cannabis movement are sometimes shocked by my show's existence, even because they don't want to face this issue. It's heavy. It seems as though I had to leave Santa Cruz for the confidence to start the show, along with some of the benefits, maintaining some of the benefits of the medicine in a different location. 90 studies show, I think it was 90% or 70, 90% of most people never leave within 50 to 70 miles of where they were born. So this can really control you epigenetically, So through the cultures, or whether it's inverted or straight or respectful or evil, your blood kins. And this is why I want to say to my friend Ross, think about how you felt after 7 years in Australia compared to like all these years around the Bay Area, or Monterey Bay area. Your bloodkins can drastically affect you for the better or worse, obviously, to be stuck in your electric mind cage. But the title of this show also comes from the electrostatic, the Nibiru reversal grid, the frequency fence that's been in place that we're working on removing here. So, of course, this works through your beliefs and your belief that you need to toe the line, pay the rent, pay your property taxes, your fucking mortgage, the dogma, narcissistic predator entities, as I've said. They can all feed into helping to maintain the frequency fences, control over you, and this is a really popular thing, unfortunately, still. Even, as I said, the Zetas and the other narcissistic parasites in the fourth dimension can easily persuade folks to never watch my channel if they're afraid that what I say might be accurate. So this is why we have amongst the mainstream media or the really popular YouTube channels what is called limited hangout, in the disclosure community. So you got to understand how they lock you in an electric cage, and how we're 2023. We're given limited hangout. So, for example, the Santa Cruz AI Parasite Illuminati, were letting me online several days a week, a few times this past month, because they have that kind of control over unless I paid for the service, using the free Wi-Fi. The Invisible 666 AI Cabal control, in the Illuminati towns such as Santa Cruz. It's not like it's going to be like that everywhere, but Santa Clara is only 1 or 2 counties over. The Hadron Collider there, so throw out all the middlemen, as I've said many times, the demiurge, the church, the government, the negative aliens in your subconscious, because this is what keeps people stuck. Taking dependency, or whether you're from a wealthy family, you're Illuminati, Rothschild, the Fed fiat printing of money, and people on welfare and food stamps. It gives this usury is what it's called, usury or fiat, printing money out of nothing. It gives a false sense of security, or warlords or landlords. All these categories of humans, we get this false sense of security, like temporary good, like, it's the security of the vampire, Oh, I'm temporarily good. I just suck some blood, because they printed out some money and gave it to me. And this Andrew Yang was going to give every poor person $1,200 a month if he got elected president, So this is the extreme socialist idea of good. Just print more money. No, California, this is where you're weak. Your fears and dogma all can lead to external control. Ultimately, why this channel hasn't been popular, besides shadow banning and nefarious dark side manipulation. I'm allowed to teach the truth on YouTube with no audience, or 1 or 2 audience members. So hit the notification bell if you want more, because that subscription doesn't mean shit except I get another number on a stack of numbers in a game controlled by numbers. So thanks for the number, but that's all it does. As far as I can tell, discerning and determining in your meditation the exact thoughts that create that cage, okay? And void those contracts. Andrew Bartz's concept of the soul revocations could be really helpful here as a meditation. Remember, always, the power of Christ, as I've said many times, is within, not just in your in YouTube. The power of Christ is not just in YouTube or in someone else, your minister, your preacher, or your rabbi, or someone else outside of yourself. Learn to create daily quiet time to hear the real voice of Christ. Okay, it's never coercive, as I've said before. And you know what? If you learned anything in this or you enjoyed it, please, if you have money that you don't need, donate some to my page, and again, hit the notification bell for more transmissions. And always do your best to create a beautiful, harmless, and respectful, and great quality in your day. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires in your third eye. and reclaim your connection to the Christ at all times. God bless, and create a beautiful day, my family.